You gave my life to me, set me free, set me free. The finest years I ever
Let's read the story. So
This is John chapter 11, verse 1, and I'm going to read 1 through
sounds good.
7. Now a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. This Mary, whose brother Lazarus now lay sick, was the same one who poured perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, Lord, the one you love is sick.
Jesus seems to really love and favor a lot of different people.
Yeah, I love that, and that's I'm glad you bring that up. And it feels, even as you're talking, it feels like yes, absolutely. And this almost feels like an adopted family for Jesus
Mhm.
to me. Like, in another gospel account, you have conflict between Jesus's biological brothers, half brothers, and there's the account where they come with his mom. And all indications are that they're kind of there to bring him in because the things he's saying, like he's stirring up things, and there's the famous, like, who are my mother, my brothers. So they come around, but it wouldn't be reading too much into the story, I don't think, to think that right now Jesus may need a surrogate family. And I
Yeah.
think I see a little bit of that with these
Yeah.
two sisters and brother. He lives with them when he's in the
It's
area.
almost like he's got his family, and there's tension there. He's got his job, which is his disciples.
Mm.
He's got his hangout place, his good friends, Lazarus, Mary, and Martha.
That's so huge because back to like rhythms of life, people that spend a lot of time researching and understanding, like, what does it look like to flourish over long term, would
Mhm.
say you need what you just described, right? You need that space where you can just be
Yeah,
friends.
that's where he'd have hang out and have dinner was
Yeah.
with these guys.
Yeah.
So okay,
When he heard this, Jesus said, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son, may be glorified through it." Now, Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was 2 more days. And then he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea."
nobody wants to go back there because that's the place where they're going to try to kill him, and of course, what he's about to do is going to just amp things up even worse.
On his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been put in the tomb for 4 days. Now, Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary stayed at home.
So we sort of see the personalities here. Mary's hanging out in the home, uh, being comforted by their friends. Martha is out and about, greeting Jesus, and so you almost see the personality of the doer versus the non-doer.
100%. Martha's doing what needs to be done,
Yeah,
but at what cost to Martha, right? Like, does Martha feel the loss of her brother any less than Mary? No, she's just part of what she's doing is like, this is my role, and
yeah,
somebody's got to greet the people, and so I'm going to do it. But I think this is one of the pitfalls of being wired more like Martha, is that maybe you don't tend to. Martha needs to be grieving too in this moment.
mhm,
She's going to need
yeah.
to make space to grieve.
That's good.
Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now, God will give you whatever you ask. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha answered, I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she replied. I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is come into the world.
I can't help but notice striking similarities between the interaction with Jesus and Martha in the interaction we saw earlier with Jesus and the woman at the well. They are having a theological debate, sort of, and the conclusion of who the Messiah is comes out at the end. In this case, Martha knows it, and she's saying it as opposed to with the Samaritan woman. Jesus is the one that says, "Guess what? It's actually me." But she seems to have a theology that yeah, there's a resurrection, but nobody seems to be thinking that this stuff's going to happen now.
Why would
Everyone's,
you?
I get,
Why would
I
you
don't know.
have, like,
Yeah, he opened the eyes of a blind guy. He should have healed Lazarus before it was too late.
right?
So he dropped the ball. Yeah, talk about a paradigm shifter, and a preview. This whole thing's a preview to what's going to happen sometime in the future.
I love that. And once again, we see Jesus entrusting really significant information that he maybe hasn't entrusted to the masses to a woman.
Amen.
Yes, Lord, she replied, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who has come into the world. After she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary aside. The teacher is here, she said, and is asking for you. When Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Now, Jesus had not yet entered the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. When the Jews who had been with Mary in the house, comforting her, noticed how quickly she got up and went out, they followed her, supposing she was going to the tomb to mourn there. When Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died.
I would be there today, I long just to have you back again, just to touch you once again.